Good morning and welcome to Your Vote Counts. I'm Scott Mitchell, and we're going to talk legislative sessions. We're going to talk special, right? Okay,
yeah.
Let's start with that. What's on the agenda for the special session?
Well, special session, we've had a number of them this year, but the one that's coming up next week that's been announced is to deal with the ARPA funds, the American Rescue Plan Act money. That was the $1.8 billion that was distributed out to the states to use for COVID relief. So the Joint Committee on Pandemic Relief, there's so many different acronyms here, has been working on this all summer. They have made a plan of how to distribute this $1.8 billion. Look, there were over $20 billion worth of asks that came into this committee. It's a big deal. They're putting that into language. They'll be voting on it over 2 days next week. It should be a pretty in and out special session.
Okay, so we're talking special session, I think is what we're talking about here. I know there's multiple going on, but the question is, what do you think will get done?
Well, as floor leader, I have a pretty good idea what I think will get done, and I'm also on the ARPA committee. I think the ARPA committee, bipartisan, bicameral, that means both Democrats and Republicans, House and Senate, did a great job really culling down projects that are going to be game-changing for the state of Oklahoma. Tons of water projects. Largest investment is in high-speed internet to both urban and rural areas. What I think will come in on Wednesday and Thursday. I think you'll see great support for all of these bills. Everybody didn't get everything they wanted, but that's part of the budgeting process. We're also going to be dividing up TARP money, which is our economic development plan that is state money, which we've used to very, very much couple with what we're doing with the ARPA funds.
ARPA and TARPA. Okay, that's how we'll remember that. So I'm wondering, Mr. Leader, if there are certain things that are happening right now that you're seeing in the news and the constituents are bringing forth, that special session's not that far away. Do you see some things coming out of the mist you may have to deal with next year?
Well, we do see some things we'll have to deal with next year. One of the things that I think is an unfortunate miss is it doesn't look like we're going to get tax cuts this year. The governor is firmly for them. The House of Representatives is firmly for tax cuts, firmly for you stopping paying your sales tax on groceries right now. It doesn't look like we're going to get that done, and it's incredibly disappointing. That's a drum I and many others are going to continue to beat as we go into next session if we can't get it done then. I also think you're going to see there were many worthy projects with some public-private partnerships that aren't going to get funded through this ARPA money. Those are going to have to wait till regular session or find other alternatives.
Okay. Here's a quick thought. Are you seeing things that they're going to have to deal with that they may not want to deal with, but it's going to have to happen?
Well, I don't know about things that they don't want to deal with, but while the Joint Committee has been meeting, while we've been having these ARPA conversations, at the same time, we've been having special studies up at the Capitol, and a lot of those happen at this time of the year, and they turn into policy. There are a few that I think have been very interesting on criminal justice reform, that we have reduced the amount of prison population by 21% over the last 5 years, really saving a lot of money in the DOC budget, money that we can start to put back into the counties for mental health and substance abuse. I also think there's been a number of studies on housing issues, and there's a lot that I think we're going to need to look at for affordable housing and a crisis in that area. So.
Okay. Well, he said we may not get those tax cuts. Let's explore that topic when we come back. For our first segment, the leader said, well, we want tax cuts over there in the House, the governor, and there's a disagreement with the Senate about this. That discussion's ongoing. But also this week, State Department of Education, the board over there said, well, we need to do some teacher pay increases. The question is, can you do teacher pay increases and tax cuts at the same time?
Without a shadow of a doubt, yes, absolutely you can. Because of strong fiscal conservative policies, the state of Oklahoma is in the best financial shape than it has been in its history. You are looking at the largest rainy day fund in the history, over $3 billion in savings. We have over a 30% increase in what we're expecting on our budget. We need to be sending money back to the constituents, and we need to do it one of two ways. You need to stop paying your sales tax on groceries. I don't know how to be any more clear. It is incredible to me that we haven't got this done yet. It's shocking that we haven't done this yet. And we can afford to give our teachers that $5,000 pay raise. It's a $3 million. It couples on the $5,000 and then additional $1,500 pay raise we've been able to give during my 6 years as majority floor leader. I would love to see it happen, and absolutely we have the money to make those investments.
You see this formerly as an insider. Now you're out there watching it in the big picture. Your thoughts about, can this get done?
Well, I think the question we have to ask is not can we afford to do this, but can we afford not to do this? And the answer to that is no. We can't afford to just sit and do nothing when it comes to making sure that we have world-class teachers in our classrooms. We're losing teachers at an alarming rate right now. Part of that is salary, part of that is just the environment of education right now. That has to be fixed. I think the $5,000 pay raise that has been proposed and was unanimously passed by the board, I think that needs to get done to bring us up to a national average on teacher pay. And I'll agree with my colleague. I think it's asinine that we still pay sales tax on our groceries. That's something that needs to get worked out. Whether or not it comes before session or not, it has to happen next year.
Okay, well, families are sitting around right now looking at asset allocation. What are they doing? Their investments, and just their savings accounts. And they're seeing what the Fed has been doing, raising interest rates. It's a financial story for real, but at the same time, it impacts families. You're seeing what's happening on the national level. How is it hurting us in Oklahoma?
Well, it naturally hurts us anytime that something at the federal level starts to trickle out into the states. And when it comes to finances, this is a big deal. We are fortunate because we're such a strong energy state right now that we're still continuing to see high revenues. I think that's good for us. We need to continue forward with policies that allow for that. But this really hurts young people, people that are getting into their career, trying to pay off credit card debt, trying to pay off student loans, and thinking about buying a first house. When interest rates raise like this, it really hits young people when it comes to their ability to save or plan for their future, and that hurts us in the long term.
What's the impact?
Let me tell you what the impact of inflation, which is what this really is all about, has on everyday working Oklahomans. And respectfully, it's not about asset allocation. It's not about who's going to be saving for their history. It is about the person that's barely making it, and their credit card interest rates are about to go to 19% because of this 0.75% increase. It's about paying more money for groceries than they've paid in their entire lifetime, with looking at groceries, food inflation close to 20%. What is going on our national level is just ridiculous. We have the opportunity to show the way on the local level. I hope we get some relief for working Oklahomans for these horrific federal policies.
That is not an endorsement of Chairman Powell's policies, by the way, if you were at home guessing. Thanks for watching Your Vote Counts, and see it again on news9.com/YourVoteCounts, and follow me on Twitter @MitchellTalks.